بسم الله نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. I shall continue to talk about Umar ibn Khattab as one of the 10 people who agree on Rasul announced that he will enter paradise. Yesterday we talked about when he accepted Islam, what standard did he take, and that was actually he wanted the Rasul to come out openly and propagate Islam, and the Rasul implemented that. Then we also talked about his stand during the Sulh al-Hudaybiyah on the agreement between Muslimin and Quraysh in the 6th year after Hijrah, that there will be a certain agreement, there will be no fight, but some of those items Umar was not that happy and asked Rasul quite a number of questions, mainly that, and we on the right and we are Muslims, then why should we be humiliated? And then he said, like he mentioned that one yesterday, after that event, he kept on praying a lot, giving out charity a lot, fasting a lot, for the fear that he actually may get a lot of sins to have approached the Prophet and asked him those questions. But as I said, and it's the nature of Umar, and the Rasul used to like him and understanding him. And the Rasul was giving an open, was giving a chance for the Swahaba. He didn't oppress them, he wasn't so much hard that you cannot express yourself. The way he was being tarbiyah is each one was being treated the way that individual is. Now today we will show very briefly his migration hijrah from Mecca to Medina. The hijrah of all the Sahabas, including Rasul and Abu Bakr, were done secretly. They were hiding, they were strategizing, they were planning to do it secretly so that the enemies of Islam do not realize that they are migrating and so that they don't stop them. But Umar, his time was different. When he was prepared to migrate from Mecca to Medina, he had talked to two people among his relatives, Ayyash ibn Abi Rabi'ah and Hisham ibn al-As, that they will go together, but they will meet somewhere outside Mecca. But he himself, before he met those people, went to Kaaba, made the tawaf 7 times, openly, confidently, prayed in Maqam Ibrahim, then passed through the Quraysh who were just sitting there, and he started telling them, Shahad al-Wujuh, what are these nasty faces and bad faces, which equally only Allah will threaten them. He started telling them very strong words, and then he said, whoever wants his children to be orphans, whoever wants his wife to have no husband, and the children and all that, let him meet me in the next valley. In other words, I am migrating, so he did it openly. He had taken his sword, he had taken the bows and arrows, he had taken a long stick, which at the end is actually pointed, and all his weapons, and he just left. And of course, nobody there to follow Umar. Perhaps if somebody thinks and has a question that why Umar has done the immigration openly and Rasulullah didn't do so. Yes, Umar is an individual, he is allowed. And Rasulullah, if he did what Umar did, then we will try to interpret and say that if you are migrating, then you have to do it openly, and that will be a big problem for people. So Rasul, even though he has no iman, and don't forget, the effort of the unbelievers is more focused on Rasul. As you know, when he migrated, they said, whoever brings the head of Rasul of Muhammad, or even himself, who will give him 100 camels. So he is wanted much more, but much more important is that he is a messenger. Whatever he's done is taken as sunnah. Then it will be difficult. This hijrah will be there, and it is there until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Hijrah, where you cannot practice Islam, you are told, you are forced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you cannot practice Islam, to try and move to an area where you can practice Islam. So if you did it the same way in an open manner, then it will be compulsory for you back. And here I give an example of Yusuf alayhi salam. Remember, Yusuf was accused that he committed adultery, or he wanted to commit it, but he never did it. When the Malik, the king, wanted him to come out of the prison because he interpreted his dreams very well, and he wanted to use him to help him, what did Yusuf tell the messenger? He said, go back to your boss and tell him, I'm not coming out of this prison until you find out what happened to those women who cut themselves. You know the story. In other words, those who accused me for adultery, until you know the truth, and so that I am free from that accusation. What did our Rasul when he heard this story say? He said, Rahimahullah Yusuf. May Allah forgive my brother Yusuf. If it were me, immediately I'm told, I'll come out very quickly and then look for other ways to justify that I never did that. The Prophet Muhammad had less demand than Yusuf? No. He's the best among the messengers. But he's telling us so that we don't interpret whoever is in a certain situation, very difficult situation, and has been jailed or whatever, in a situation which is not true, that it is not sunnah if you follow Yusuf, that you cannot come out until you are clear. Because this, you never can tell what will happen in the prison. Maybe that time you want to be clear, and if you don't come out, another ruler comes who is much more closer to the other group, and then you are clean for nothing. So our Rasul is giving us option. That is the reason. I wanted just to clarify that. Otherwise, as we all know, our Rasul has more faith and believe in Allah much more, but his was a different way. Now, let us talk a bit about Muwafaqat Umar al-Qur'an al-Karim. How did Umar's right? Whatever Umar was thinking, it was being accurately clarified, or the revelation will come according to what Umar was thinking. There are so many things and so many hadiths and ayah which came specifically to support the view of Umar al-Qur'an. For him, he says the following. He says that Qur'an, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَوَفَقْتُ اللَّهَ فِي ثَلَاثٍ, that I came in agreement that whatever I thought and whatever I said was actually meant to be true in 3 occasions. But there are maximum on 3 occasions. So for him, he says, one is, قُلْتُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ لَوْ اتَّخَذْتَ مَقَامَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. Maqam Ibrahim is the stone which Nabi Ibrahim used to stand and build the Kaaba, and telling his son Ismail to help him bringing the stones. Now Umar one time told the Prophet ﷺ, "Now, if we could make this place of Maqam Ibrahim a place we pray." And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then repeated us to say that we should take that place as Musalla. And up till now, as you know, that it is sunnah, at least after doing the tawaf, to pray rak'atayn in Maqam Ibrahim. So this was coming to support the view of Umar al-Qur'an. The second one time Umar told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, your house is approached, people come in, the good people and the bad people. I wish Allah would make hijab compulsory so that the wives of the Prophet would put on hijab, because you see, the house of the Prophet was like an office. Anybody who wants to see the Prophet, anybody who wants to ask the Prophet something, so it was actually an opening place. And as Umar says, the people who could come in, some are very Muslims, some are Muslims of a very small faith, some are Munafiqeen. So it's not really good for the women. And then immediately after that, the ayah of hijab came in. The third event was that Umar radiallahu anhu had one time that the wives of the Prophet actually keep on complaining, sometimes jealousy between them, sometimes they just want some worldly affairs. These are human beings. And women are women in desiring things which are much better and all that. So when he heard about that, one time that they can argue with the Prophet, he actually went and started asking, and he asked his own daughter Hafsa, is it true that you people, maybe how it happened? He was talking to his wife, and the wife started answering back. And you know Umar said, how dare you answer me back? He said, Ummahat al-Mu'minin, the wife of the Prophet, and the Prophet said they answer back. He said, are you sure? He said, yes, this is what happens. So he went straight to his daughter and said, Hafsa, do you people sometimes answer back to the Prophet? He said, yes, and sometimes you remain a bit unhappy or you don't talk one day or so. He said, this is very serious. If you annoy the Prophet, Allah will get annoyed. And this leads, and then he said, if you want anything, my daughter, please ask me. And don't ask the Prophet. But you should never answer back, you should never make the Prophet to be unhappy. Then he called the women, normal, of the Prophet, and started talking to them not to do that. One of them said, Subhanallah, Umar, there is nobody now who can actually give us a sort of a speech on this issue except you, Umar. Umar said, Allah may change you, may bring otherwise to the Prophet. Then the verse was repeated, that if you are not satisfied, then Allah will change and give the Prophet wives who are this and this, all the sifat and the good wives in the Surah Al-Ahzab. That came actually earlier by the arguments of Umar al-Khattab. Those are three occasions, but the occasions are very many. As-Suyuti says there are over 20 occasions. And he narrates quite a number. I don't want to narrate all of them, but I want just to expand a bit on some of those occasions. And then explain what the Prophet said about Umar. In one of the occasions, it was when Rasulullah decided to pray Salat al-Janazah to the biggest man who is among the Munafiqeen, Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul. When he died, his son was a very good Muslim and very close to the Prophet. Remember, I mentioned that Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul in the battle of Mustalaq, when there was a misunderstanding between Muhajirin and Ansar, and one person shouted and said, Ya Ansar, and the other one shouted, Ya Muhajirin, then Rasul went and pulled down this da'wah, da'wah al-Jahiliyyah, wa ana bayna adhurikum. You are calling the da'wah of Jahiliyyah and I'm with you. Leave it out, إنها ممتنة. It's really smells so bad. Then Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul said, you see, you people telling the Ashab have looked at this Muhajirin until now they are overruling you. And he said the words in Arabic, which is very beautiful, expressing the Prophet and the messengers. He said that the Arab says something, make your dog, give it a lot of food, and one day he's going to turn to you and eat you. So that day when he said, and this ayah is what the Munafiqeen, that when we reach, and he said, when we reach the Medina, the people who are honored will remove those who are not honored. The honored are the Munafiqeen, all the Ansar who are there, and the ones who are not honored is the Prophet plus the Muhajirin. Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul was angry the son. First, when he heard one time that the Prophet may think of killing Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul, he went to the Prophet and told, Ya Rasulullah, if you are thinking of killing my father, instruct me to do that. I will kill him. Because people know how much better I do good to my parents. I fear if somebody else kills him, I may at one time do something which is wrong. Rasul said, don't worry, we are not going to kill him. We'll try to go with him. Then his son sat somewhere next to the gate of Medina, and when his father was coming in, he stopped him with his wife. He said, you are not coming in. until the Prophet whom you say is the real, is law, gives a permission that you are allowed to go into Medina. So Abdullah, his son was very good, went to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, my father has died. Can you go and pray for him? And he wanted the cloth of the Prophet. And the Prophet gave him the counsel which he has for him, so that he is the governor. And then, as he was about to pray, Umar came and said, Ya Rasulullah, أعلى عدو الله عبد الله بن أبي الفائل كذا وكذا وكذا صلوا. You are praying to Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul, who said this and this and this against the Muslim, repeating all those. And he kept on saying, hasn't Allah stopped you from asking forgiveness? Rasul told him, Umar, Allah khayyarani. He made me decide. He said, even if you pray 70 times, I will not forgive him. So he is giving me an option. I have decided to pray for him. And if I knew that if I prayed to him more than 70 times he will be forgiven, I would have done that. وَغَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And by that time, there was no clear cut that was doing. So as he pushed a bit too much, then Rasul told him, أَخْفَرْ عَنِّي يَا عُمَرْ, just leave me. Then Umar just left and the Rasul prayed. And after that, Rasul went to the qabr and stood next to the qabr and prayed to Abdullah ibn Ubay. Then the verse started being revealed that you don't pray for any of these munafiqeen. You can't stand on their qabr and all that. In fact, Umar was saying, for the act again he was asking Allah istighfar, and he got worried and he said, I don't know why I became that courageous to tell our Rasul what I said, but Allah supported me. This is Umar. In the issue of the prisoners of war of Badr, we all know that in the Battle of Badr, 70 unbelievers, the Quraysh were killed and 70 were taken prisoners. Rasulullah, this was the first occasion where you had prisoners. Ask opinion from Shura, the Muslims. What do we do with these prisoners? Abu Bakr usually is the first person who gives the opinion. And most of the time the Prophet takes the opinion of Abu Bakr. And Abu Bakr said, Ya Rasulullah, these are our brothers, our cousins, and all that. I think what you should do, we charge them some money which will benefit out of that, and we leave them free, and inshallah maybe they will convert to Islam later. And then he started asking anybody else, Umar, what to say? Umar said, Rasul, I beg to differ with Abu Bakr entirely. I think you give me my relative so and so, and I cut his head. You give Ali bin Abi Talib, Aqil bin Abi Talib, his brother, and he cuts him. You give Hamza, his brother, and he does the same. Until Allah realizes that there is no sympathy for us for the unbelievers. This was his point. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed a verse in the support that you should not have taken these prisoners until you are well established in Islam. Later, yes, there are some other verses in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Muhammad. But this is the first battle, and these people are very strong. First, you should be very harsh until you are well entrenched. Then you can be Muslim. In fact, what happened, Umar, the second day, saw the Prophet and Abu Bakr crying. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, and Abu Bakr, what are you crying so that at least I know and at least I can cry with you? He said, we have been blamed and you are the only one who have been saved. And he expressed the issue. Inshallah, we will talk about more of some of these things. As I say, As-Suyuti and other states about 21 occasions. And then I will explain actually why and what Rasul said about Umar, that Allah has given him the Murham as if he's actually giving ilham, as if Malak speaks on his behalf.